Well, it's not just for holiday pies and seasonal treats. Pumpkin is packed with goodness, and this fall favorite produce is a nutritional knockout. My next guest says you should be adding it to your diet every day. So Suzy Robertson, she's here. Suzy Robertson.
Yes.
She's here, and she's going to share some insights. So let's talk about those health benefits of pumpkin.
Okay, well, they're loaded with beta-carotene, just like carrots. Anything that's orange usually has beta-carotene. It's got lots of fiber in it, which is wonderful for our gut health, right? The seasonings that we're going to put it are anti-inflammatory, which is wonderful because those fight off those free radicals in the body, help us to not age so fast, not oxidize, right? So we want lots of antioxidants. So the beautiful thing about nature is when you see lots of color, you know it's usually full of antioxidants. So helps us age better.
And it's good for our eyes.
Yes.
It's good for our eyes, full of fiber, antioxidants, and anti-inflammatory, nutrient dense.
Yes.
Is your last
It just means there's lots of nutrients in that, the vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients. Usually anything in nature, it's just really simple. We just need to get back to nature. And pumpkins and these foods that are full of color, always good for us.
And they're delicious. And
yes,
you brought a couple
are.
recipes for us.
Yes.
So we're starting with everyone's favorite, the cookies.
Pumpkin chocolate chip cookies.
Yes.
Okay, and these can be gluten-free and dairy-free for those people who need that. And it's made with the simple oat flour. So most people don't know you can make flour simply with a grinder and the grains. So I just have the rolled oats here, and I'm gonna stick them in my blender. I don't want them to go everywhere. Here we go.
So this is how you can make your own gluten-free flour.
Yes, so it's just 3 cups of oats, and you just turn on your blender. Oh, when you have power, there you go.
That is fast, right?
So we have flour.
Boom,
Boom, gluten-free flour.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm just gonna dump this in the dry bowl, and then do you wanna add in this half a cup of dry oats too? So we add a little bit of the whole oat because it's fun to have that a little bit of texture.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have, that makes about 2.5 cups oat flour. So if you don't have a high-powered blender or your blender doesn't mix very well, you can buy oat flour at like a health food store. So you don't have to make your own, but how simple and easy is that to make your own, right? Okay, and then our other dry ingredients are just your basic baking powder, soda, salt, and then those wonderful antioxidant seasonings. So this is allspice, clove, and cinnamon that we're putting in here. You can buy pumpkin pie spice, which we're gonna put in our other chia seed pudding, or you can just blend them yourself, and it's usually just that, including nutmeg. So pumpkin pie spice just takes the
even
guesswork
those spices
out.
are good for us.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, and they've been around for thousands of years. We use these type of seasonings in the fall more, but in other cultures they use them year round. So spices are really great for us. Okay, and then I've just got a couple eggs and some vanilla, so kind of a traditional cookie thing. We're gonna use a whole can of pumpkin puree, and this is not the pumpkin pie filling. Pumpkin pie filling already has the spices in it, but we put our own spices in.
Okay,
so that's
good
why
tip.
it's not the filling. And then we can
pumpkin.
dump in the brown
sugar.
sugar.
Yum.
And then I also have a little bit of coconut sugar. This is because it's lower on the glycemic index, so our blood sugars aren't going to spike as fast by using a little coconut sugar.
And is this instead of more brown sugar?
So I do a little
Or
bit of
instead
brown
white
sugar for the flavor because brown sugar is just yummy, right?
Yes.
And coconut sugar is delicious too, but just adding that little bit of brown sugar and then having the coconut sugar is just kind of helping out with that sugar load, right? That glucose load. So, and then coconut oil. We've got a little bit of liquid coconut oil, and that's the last of our wet ingredients.
Yum.
And we can just toss these two together with the dry and the wet,
and
and add our chocolate chips. I know. So we of course I forgot my display cookies, so we hurried and whipped some up. So the studio smells amazing already,
does.
right? So I'll have you mix those two together. And then we're just gonna add chocolate chips. My favorite is the Goutard ones. That chocolate is just the best.
It really is.
Right?
So what do you use, dark or these?
Yes,
just,
so I like dark because it's a good offset for me with the pumpkin, but you know what, if your family likes really sweet things, you might wanna go for milk chocolate, but super simple. And then I always include a couple extra chocolate chips on the top. So when we put the cookies in, then we can put a couple on top and just make them look pretty, right? So then they don't
just sink to the bottom.
Yeah, so then you're just gonna take a scooper. I like to do large ones, so I would do them big like this, but you can do the smaller ones as well. And then just put a couple chocolate chips on top, and gonna bake those for about 14 minutes at 350. And you want to just insert the toothpick, make sure that they're dry before you take them out, just like any bread, right?
Well,
you can also bake it in
9x13,
so you don't even have to do the cookie thing if you want, right?
Even easier.
Dump it in a
Love
9x13.
the bars. Okay,
Yes.
and this is a chia pumpkin pudding.
Yes, and it's kind of like an overnight oat as well to add a little texture. So super simple. Just take a ball jar, and you're just going to pour in a cup of milk. You can do nut milk, almond milk. regular cow's milk, whatever your fancy is. Then we're gonna add in that good pumpkin, right?
Again, just the puree?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna put that in there. We're gonna add a half a teaspoon of cinnamon and the pumpkin spice. So the pumpkin spice is already put together, and I just add extra cinnamon because I love cinnamon the best. So
why do you prefer to use the pumpkin spice in this recipe and not that
I was just going to show you the difference. Like
Okay.
you can use either. So if you just had pumpkin spice, you could add up the amount of those spices and just use pumpkin spice
Gotcha.
too. And then a couple tablespoons to sweeten naturally with maple syrup. That's going to be our sweetener. Add a little bit of oats. And you don't cook these. These are overnight oats, so they'll just be ready to go in the morning. Then we're going to add our 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. This is going to thicken it, and this gives us our omega-3s for the day. It's a great plant-based source of omega-3s. We don't get enough omega-3s in our diet usually, and so adding them in, because we don't eat enough fish, especially here in Utah,
Right.
so it's a great plant-based source. And then I'm just going to mix it up with my little, have you seen these little frothers?
yeah.
They're so great. So anyway, or you could just shake them, but the frother's kind of fun. Anyway, and I'm just going to mix that up, and then by tomorrow morning, it's ready to go, and all I have to do is put a little bit of granola, because I like a little crunch with my chia
too.
puddings or overnight oats. So you can add nuts, seeds, granola. You can see in our display we put a little bit of whipped cream just for fun, and some extra pumpkin seeds for this time of year.
And those can
Fall is
last a
fun.
little bit in the fridge if we have
Yes,
leftovers?
yep. They say 3 to 5 days, but I've had them up to a week and they're great. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You heard it here.
Yes.
Okay. And where can we find more recipes from you? These are so healthy and yummy.
Yes, I love to teach my healthy cooking classes are on learntocookhealthy.com or on social media at Suzy's Natural Health Movement.
All right. Thank you, Suzy.
You're welcome.